Pull up, grab the fuel nozzle, and get ready to fuel up on trends and strategies to grow your travel center business in this episode of the Truckstop's Here, brought to you by NATSO. Now, here's your host, Amy Toner.
Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Truckstop's Here. I'm your host, Amy Toner. You are listening to the Truckstop's Here, the NATSO Foundation's podcast. The NATSO Foundation is the research, education, and public outreach subsidiary of NATSO. The podcast is just one of the many educational tools the foundation creates. Today, we have Delia Moon Meier. She's the Senior Vice President of Iowa 80 Group, and Iowa 80 recently celebrated a 60-year anniversary. Welcome, Delia, and congrats on your 60 years. So I am pretty sure that everyone knows in all of the United States what Iowa 80 is, but just in case, can you tell us about it, like how you started and where you are today?
The Iowa 80 Truckstop is the world's largest truck stop. We're located on I-80 and exit 284, right on the Mississippi River in Iowa. And we started in 1964 as just a small, a couple gas pumps, I think 3 diesel pumps, a lunch counter, and that was probably it. Room for about 10 parking spots, parking spots, and just small. My parents came here and took over the operation in 65. I was just a baby then. And, they just started reinvesting, working hard, serving customers, and it just kept growing. When they opened, the interstate didn't even go past our place very far, about 6 miles past. And then you had to get off and drive on Highway 6 through Davenport and across the river. So it took another 7 years for the bridge across the Mississippi and everything to get done.
Wow.
So there's been a lot of growth, a lot of things going on.
And then today you have so much stuff. Just to tell us a few things about what you have today.
Well, you bet. We've got 9 restaurants. The full-serve restaurant is open 24 hours. The Wendy's is open 24 hours. We've got a big C-store, a giant gift store, a super truck showroom that actually has 3 semis inside of it. Our building has, I think, another 4 or 5 antique trucks as part of the decor, 24 private showers, a chapel, an 80-seat movie theater, 25-seat TV room. An exercise room, a dentist, a chiropractor, a barber shop, just a dog-o-mat, a truck wash, a cat scale, a fuel center, 48 gas islands, everything we can think of, we've got it here. And the Iowa 80 Trucking Museum, don't forget that.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you guys sent out the most delightful press release, which I ate up. And one thing it said was that Bill Moon, your dad, loved to sit at the counter and talk to the drivers and use that to create ideas for amenities. How's the approach to listening to drivers? Has that changed, or is it still the same today?
I think the key is to be close to your customer. You've been here, you see that we're all working right at the truck stop. And, talking to customers every single day, that's kind of part of our lives. We see them at lunch, we see them just walking around. And, we're close to our customer and they tell us what they want. But, on the other hand, we're also looking at what do I want? I travel around. I spend my whole life here, 8-10 hours a day. And what do I want? So, when we talk about 9 restaurants, maybe we're just talking about what Delia wants for lunch.
I like it. The other thing I got a tickle out of was that it said there's no locks on the doors. Have you ever had to close?
No. No. They don't know how to.
Okay. Another thing that stood out was the 32 expansions and remodels. It seems like you must have this approach to constantly updating the business model. Is that right?
We do. And in fact, we're working on a strategic plan right now. We're a company that runs through our strategic plan. And the goal is to create 2 wows, a minimum of 2 wows at the location a year. And so a wow is going to be either, a new bathroom remodel or new flooring in the store or a new entrance or, a new truck inside or an expansion. or a redo of the whole restaurant. It goes all across the board, but we have that focus to keep improving and building on and implementing new ideas. That's built into our culture and our strategic plan that we have to do at least two big things for the customer every year.
Wow, that's awesome. What was the most recent wow that you did?
We're working on a couple huge wows.
Okay.
We did just open our distribution center here at Walcott. And
Right.
It's
I saw that.
150,000 square foot building. On January 11th, Iowa and most of the country had a huge snowstorm. We moved our distribution center during that weekend of the
Wow.
snowstorm. I couldn't believe everybody showed up. It was just an unbelievable effort on everybody. I'm just really proud of them. But, so that's something new that we've just accomplished. We're 2 weeks into it. So somebody said, "Do you have some bugs?" And we laughed and thought, bugs, woo, they might be monsters. But, we're always working on some big deal. And so right now we've got a big project going on at Joplin as well, a big construction project. And I'm planning one that we're starting right now for Joplin.
Okay.
And we'll be adding to our food court and our C-store. And I'm just super excited about that one. That was going to be a complete game changer.
That sounds amazing. All right. We're going to go back a little bit. Can you tell us a fond memory from growing up from the early days?
That's a good question. When I think about the truck stop when I was a kid, it was just always where my parents were. And, when I think about even like our house phone was the phone at the truck stop. And if you turned it one way, it had a little knob on it. If you turned it one way, you were, could call our
your
parents.
Uh-huh.
And then if you turned it the other way, it was our house phone and we could call our friends. And, so it's just really integrated on it. I've got a lot of memories, but, one is whenever we would go out to eat, like Sunday dinner, we would come to the truck stop, of course. That would be our Sunday dinner. And, when we were looking for anything, you start at the truck stop, see what you need there. And if you can't find it there, you can go somewhere else.
That's amazing.
Not that it was free. We had to pay for everything, but just you always start at home and go from there. And I can remember we had these roads near the truck stop, and now it's all built up, and it's where the truckomat is and the fuel center. But the roads were there before the businesses were there, and that's where we would learn to drive. We would go out there and practice driving around while our parents were working, and we could do this figure eight, or we could back the figure eight. We could do whatever we wanted to, but we could drive around in those 2 blocks and practice parking and probably driving too fast and everything else. But so pretty much every memory includes the truck stop.
So 60 years is like this huge accomplishment. I feel like you probably have a lot to be proud of, but what are you most proud of?
Most proud of is, that my brother and I, we're second generation. I am most proud of that we were able to continue it, that was our desire, that we wanted to do it. And, everybody stuck with us and believed that we could do it. And we did it. My dad died 32 years ago. And so we've been on our own a long time. And my mother died 7 years ago. And we're still going strong and still growing. So that's really what I'm most proud of, is that, a lot of families fight and they break up and they ruin a good thing. And we didn't. It's a miracle. Not that we fight. I'm not implying that. I just mean it's underrated. What it takes to run a business, and then what it takes to run a business within your family.
Yeah, especially one that's open 24 hours, 7 days a week.
It never stops, right?
Exactly. Okay, so before I let you go, what does the future hold?
Oh, like I said, we've got these big projects going on.
Yep.
I've got this one at Kenley. I've got this one at Joplin. And, right after that, we got to do something cool at Walcott. What I really love is that we're a large enough company now, and we've done enough things that everything we do is pretty exciting. It's fun. It's not just the grind. I mean, there's a lot of days that are only the grind.
Yeah.
But, we get to be pretty creative. It's a big advantage.
When I think of you guys, I think of just like excellence and logistics. So I feel like that, like strive for being better, plus being really good at executing it's like you could do anything.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
We like to believe that most days, and some days we pull it off.
Awesome. All right. Well, thank you for coming on the podcast.
You bet.
Congrats again. Thank you for listening to today's episode of The Truck Stops Here. You can find us online at natso.com/podcast. If you have any questions, you want to be a sponsor or a guest, reach out to me at atoner@natso.com. Thanks for listening.
The Truck Stops Here was brought to you by NATSO, the association representing truck stops and travel centers. Visit natso.com for more information. The Truck Stops Here is produced by NATSO in collaboration with Human Factor. Producers are Amy Toner and Darren Schulte.